These are the 10 best tips and tricks for Grand Prix Online Begin. Now, before I start this video, if you go into the description, there will be a link, as I remember, to the GPO wiki. Anything you want to know will most likely be on there. It is a really useful website, especially for beginners, because it has a leveling guide and a map. Now, speaking of leveling, the first step, or the first tip I have for you is leveling. What different methods are there for leveling? Well, obviously, there's the first one, going from island to island, starting at starter, then going to desert, then going to shells, then Barati, then Skypiea, then Gravito, and then Fishman, and then maybe even Thriller Bark once you get into second sea. I'm not going to go too into depth on the leveling. There will be on the wiki, if you just search leveling guide GPO, it will come up with the wiki website. Now, this is mainly if you've played the game before. I know this is a beginner's tips and tricks, but if you have a friend who's max level, or you've got an ult that's max level and has a pretty good fruit, you can sea beast farm. That's a really good way to level, because if your friend, you can even do this with Diablo Zombie, you just might not get as much damage. But if you get enough damage with the sea beast, 500 is required for kill. That's the requirement for the credit. However, if you do say 1000 damage, you'll get 1000 XP. So how much damage you do is equivalent to how much XP you get. And because sea beasts have 10,000 HP, if for example you have 10,000 damage on that sea beast, if you solo it, you will then get 10,000 XP added to your level, which could be a good 5 to 10 levels maybe, depending on what level you are. I started doing that on my account when I was in Fishman Island. I was getting a bit bored because that's the island you stay there for the longest. I was about level 220 to 240. That's when I started doing it, and I had Maggie, so I was doing some good damage. If you have Diablo Zombie, because you are a beginner, as this title says, you might find it a bit more challenging. But I would still say, if you have an alt account that's already max level or friend, it is a very good leveling method. Now, next, on to step number 2, or tip number 2. All of the boats you can get in this game. Now, there are 3 boats you can buy with Peli. They are the rowboat, the galleon, and then the caravel. In order, it goes rowboat, caravel, then the galleon. The galleon will be your best bet if you're max level. It costs about 25,000 Peli, which endgame isn't too hard to get, but for a beginner, it can be quite challenging to get to. Now, they're the boats you can buy with Peli. However, there are a few other boats. For example, I have the Cupid boat, which isn't available anymore. It doesn't go too fast. It goes about 60, I believe, before boats got buffed. I'm not too sure what it goes at now, but it only has 100 HP. There's also the hoverboard, which costs 3,000 Robux. It has 700 HP and goes 95 speed without Zushi. But if you have Zushi, it goes a bit faster. So if you have Zushi, I would recommend getting hoverboard. Now, there is also the coffin boat, which costs 2222. That goes, I think, 105 speed. And the striker boat, which is another 3,000. I think it goes 95, the same as hoverboard, but with Meva, it goes a bit faster, potentially. I'm not too sure about the speeds. If you want to check the speeds out, basically go check the wiki. That will be your main go-to guide if you're a beginner. But then there is also another one, I believe. I think this is the last boat, called the Thrilled Ship. It came out during the Thriller Bark update. That only costs 800, but I think it goes a bit faster than the normal boat. Maybe not. I'm not too sure. Don't count me on it. Once again, if you want to go check these things out, go check the wiki out. But the boats you can buy, I can't be bothered going to the island. But Town of Beginnings is where you can get the first 2 boats at, along with a hammer and some wood. So that'll be your go-to place if you need to repair your ship. It's always useful to have a hammer on you, because if you've got bounty and marine ships coming after you, you can repair your boat basically. And the second ship is at Shellstown, that marine island. It is in a house near the barrel guy, I believe. If you just go check out the houses there, you'll be able to find it. Or you can go check the wiki. That will have everything you need to know. But that costs about 25,000, I believe. And it also has a hammer there as well, if you don't already have a hammer. Now, tip number 3. Any good game passes I would recommend buying. Any good game passes I would recommend getting are the Golden Hammer. That is a pretty big necessity, I would say. The Golden Hammer goes at, I would say, I think it's 4 times the speed of normal hammer. This is the normal hammer. It goes really slow, especially if you've got like Galleon. It takes ages to get it from like halfway HP to maximum. But there you go. A Golden Hammer that repairs ships 4 times faster. I'd definitely recommend getting that game pass. Now, the next game pass I would recommend getting is definitely the fruit bag. I believe that costs 500. Yeah, 500. Okay. You can buy it again if you've already got it, because it just gets into your inventory as a spare fruit bag. So you can go get that. I would recommend getting that because it allows you to store all these fruits in here. So you can see I've got all these legendaries stored. And you can store these commons and rares, and it is very, very useful. You can only store 1 of each fruit though. If you get really rich and you get into trading, you can then trade for a prestige bag, which basically allows you to store 2 of each devil fruits, but it is like worth a lot, so good luck trying to get it. Now, these 2 are going to be kind of honorable mentions, the devil fruit journal and Bomby's log post. Basically what the devil fruit journal does is it basically allows you to track what devil fruits you've gotten and of what type. So say I've gotten 100 suitcase, it will tell me in there that I've got 100 suitcase. I don't actually have this game pass, because it's 750, which I think is an overpriced for a Devil Fruit Journal. If you want to get this Devil Fruit Journal, you can. It isn't really a requirement, but it is quite useful. And now this one I would recommend more than Devil Fruit Journal is Bobby's Log Pose, which costs 100, so it's very, very cheap actually. And basically what it does is, instead of having all these log poses here, it just gets condensed into one log pose, which basically you open it up, you find island, and it's all listed here, instead of having to equip them all manually and find out which one you are looking for. Now, real quick, you might be thinking, oh, should I buy the All-Seeing Eye? And right now it is 100,000 Robux, which is about 100 Great British pounds, about $100, whatever. And that is a really OP game pass because it gives you 2x drop rates and allows you to see where a Devil Fruit spawns and what Devil Fruit spawns. Plus, in Battle Royale, it gives you, if you're in a party and you win, even if you don't get MVP, you get a guaranteed legendary chest anyway. Now, if you have the money to spend on this, then I would recommend you probably do. However, if you don't have the money and you are a bit poorer, then just save up. You might be able to get it in trading in the future. It is not really a necessity, however it is very useful because on weekends you get 4x low gear instead of 2x low gear. Now on to tip number 4, all the ways of getting fruits in this game. So for starters, you have dungeons. You can do dungeons. Once you get to wave 25 of a dungeon, you can die, and then you get a guaranteed devil fruit from rare all the way up to a mythical. That isn't the best method at the minute in my opinion, but it is a possibility for you. You can complete it with Diablo Zombie quite easily, so there's that method. There's also crew racing, which 1, you need someone else who's got a crew, and 2, it's like a 1 in 1,000 chance of getting a devil fruit, and then it can still be a Suke, so I definitely would not recommend that. Now there's also Battle Royale. I would not really recommend this either because you have to win to get a devil fruit, whether that's a rare or a legendary, depending on whether you run solos or squads. But the method I would recommend is Kraken Stacking, and more towards the line of Great Kraken Stacking, because Great Krakens give you a guaranteed devil fruit. However, I know Great Krakens require you to have Great Kraken Stacking at least requires you to have 3 ults in second C, and one of them at least needs to have a walking on water fruit, and you really should have a fruit that can fly fast like Pika. So it might not be accessible to everyone, however it is really good. They are all the fruit methods I believe off the top of my head. Tip number 5 kind of goes off tip number 4. Best fruit for each level. Now, no matter what level you are, even if you're max level or whatever, do not eat Suke, Spin or Kilo. Do not whatsoever. They are absolutely horrible. They are so not worth it. Plus, you have to spend money to reset them, so it's really not worth it. Now, I would advise if you have the opportunity to go for either Bomb or Gomu. I would say they are probably the 2 best rares, mainly because I used Gomu for a long time before I got legendary, and it can do quite a bit of damage. It was better before the Gatling nerf, but it is still pretty OP. But Bombu, if you have Bombu, you can easily solo dungeons with that as well, because the ultimate, if you have enough in defense, it can one-shot the boss. But that'll be, I would recommend, if you can't get a legendary, use these rares up until max level. Just level up, either using Diablo Zombie or Sword Style and a Devil Fruit maybe, to your max level, and then grind dungeons to get a legendary. Because you could easily go, I did, from level 100 to 425 at the time I played this game, was max, without a Devil Fruit. However, if you do have the chance of coming across a legendary, no matter what legendary it is, it will most likely be pretty good for leveling, better than Diablo Zombie or Sword Style for leveling. So I'd recommend, if you did have the chance of getting a legendary Devil Fruit, or even a mythical if you are that lucky, then I would recommend eating it. However, if you don't have a Devil Fruit, don't sweat. You can easily go from level 1 to max level without a Devil Fruit pretty easily. Now, let's go on to boss drops. What are the best bosses to farm for boss drops? Now, bosses in this game can be quite challenging, apart from maybe the first 3. And I am still using the eye patch and the metal jaw, actually. So they are quite some good boss drops to get. The bandit eye patch gives you plus 5 HP, and this gives you 25 HP. I believe the metal jaws is 25% drop, and the eye patch is a 50% drop. So if you do not have them, there's really no excuse. You should get them. Now, obviously, this is a beginner guide, but if you are in second C, I'd recommend farming Krakens just till you get Kraken armor, because it is one of the best armors, if not the best armor in the game at the minute. Doesn't matter what color, they all do the same. Along with maybe even the Kraken cape, you're in second C. Get this. I'm not sure actually what this gives. I think maybe stamina regen. No, it gives 1.5 HP regen, 1.5 HP regen, and about 60 HP, which is pretty good. However, if you aren't in second C, I would recommend farming. There's the marine cape, basically. The guy that spawns up in here, Zeki, I think he's called. He uses the flame devil fruit. Now you could farm Whitebeard. He also drops a cape. However, he is a lot harder. And if you have a devil fruit, you will be able to cheese him a lot easier. So basically, I'm just going to show you how you would cheese him. Basically, just get his attention, hold block, because I think only one of his moves, or two of his moves can block break. That is Flame Pillar and his ultimate. Basically, what you want to do is you want to just get him in this corner and just do moves on him, basically. That is not hitting. But basically, you can just do moves on him from beyond this wall, I believe. Unless they patched it. No, you can still fight him from beyond this wall. Even if you just have to M1 him, just do that. Now, I would also recommend one of the dungeon drops you can get from the Pika boss in the dungeon. I believe it's called the Lantern of Hope. That is a waste item, so you're not really going to get much else that replaces it. And basically, I'll just recommend that. It's a pretty easy item to get as long as you can kill the Pika bosses in the dungeons. There's also the Gorilla Crown. That gives you some good HP regen, I believe. Which is a pretty easy boss to fight. You can cheese it pretty easily with Pika. But obviously, not everyone's going to have Pika. Next tip is the second C level and how do you get there, first off. Well, the second C level requirement is level 325. Once you're level 325, you can go to second C. However, if you go to Reverse Mountain, which is where you go to second C at, there'll be a monkey there saying you are not worthy of going to second C. You need to get the word scroll, basically. If you go this way from Marineford, between north and northwest, you should be able to find it, I believe. Now, bear in mind, there are waters here, and there is a sea beast that even with 0 bounty, you are guaranteed to spawn one. I believe if you are doing this with a friend, if you're leveling up at the same time, these take 10 minutes to respawn. So if I go and try to pick it up, I already have it, so I can't pick it up. But this is basically where you get the word scroll at. So Reverse Mountain is this way. So if you go from Marineford, it is about southwest from Marineford, right this way. Evan, if you speak to him, he will tell you that area in the direction that I'm facing. So you just go to him, basically you just face this way, see, Reverse Mountain, straight that way. Now, if you do want to Kraken farm and Kraken stack, this is tip number 8. Kraken stacking requires you to have 2 alt accounts or 2 accounts in second C, one to anchor and one to lure. I do have a great Kraken stacking tutorial up, so I'm not going to go too into depth on how to do it. And the same is pretty similar for normal Kraken stacking. However, normal Kraken stacking is worth it if you want to get the drops, I guess. But it does require you to have 2 accounts in second C. But you do need 60k plus bounty to instantly spawn a Kraken, which without that you could probably be farming a bit slower. So I'd recommend having 60,000 plus bounty to spawn a Kraken. That's really it for that tip. On to tip number 9. Any trading tips that I have for you. Some of you might want to go into trading. Now, I'm not the most the best trader in the world, but I have done some fair share of trading. My tips would be to look up the values on Google. There might be some on the wiki, some people have asked. However, bear in mind that they might have been from a year ago, so values are to change. So if they are from a year ago, do not trust them. If you want to show up value, just go to the GPO Reddit. It isn't an official Reddit, but it is a Reddit that people play GPO on. You can just ask the value of something, and most likely you will get a response. Now, you could also use the GPO Trading Discord to find trades and to also find out the value of stuff. Instead of the actual GPO trade server in-game. Damn it, Thomas. There is the GPO Trade Hub Discord server, and basically, no matter what server you were in, there is a win or loss section as well, so you can put on here. So, Mera, Yuki, and Shisui for Iceborne Daggers. This person's saying it's a W, so it's a good trade. If you go into this search box up here, it is also on PC or mobile as well. If you just search up here, say for example I want drums. If I just search up drums, it will come up with people trading drums. See, drums, Rima Scarf, drums, and Mini Bunny for question mark. That's saying, yeah, basically offer. There's drums and Bat Swarm for festival lance, so you can kind of get the value from the Discord. Now, on to the final tip, tip number 10. Now, you might be thinking, should I go into GPO Battle Royale? I think the level requirement is level 75, maybe 175, something like that. I'm not too sure, but you can't do Battle Royale straight from the get-go, which makes sense, if I'm being honest. However, is it worth your time? I would say no. I really hate Battle Royale, not just because I'm bad at it. I just think it is a shit game mode, especially because the last update, we had update 7, was all Battle Royale focused, and I hated that because, you know, there's nothing for those PvE players like myself. However, if you are lucky enough to win a game, especially solos, you'll get a guaranteed legendary chest, which, you know, you can even get mythical from them. But if you are in a squad as well, and you win a game but you don't get the most damage in that squad, you get a rare chest, which you can still get a legendary from, and even a mythical. Some people have been lucky enough to get mythicals from rare chests, but it just depends. If you are looking for like an easy way to get rare chests, just play the Battle Royale a bunch and just level up till you get the rare chest in the battle pass. You can also get to about max level and you'll get a legendary chest. And also if you do put in the time to grind Battle Royale and get to max level, you can also get the item, the weapon that is out there, which usually goes for quite a bit. Hey, I was going through this video editing it, and for some reason I missed out hockey. I don't know why, but I did. So I'm going to put this in as tip number 11. Hockey in GPO basically allows you to be able to hit low gear users, just like the anime and any other One Piece game. It also increases your damage, and you have to train it. So let's just go through all what you need to know about hockey if you're a beginner. Hockey can be gotten from the Yeti Island, or once you're level 80. You pay a guy, I think it's 25,000 Pelly, to get a quest. If you get rid of that quest, you then have to pay him the Pelly again. So do not get rid of the quest, otherwise you will be basically in debt. And then you've got to defeat 100 Yetis, which may sound easy, but it is quite challenging, especially if you're fruitless. But if you're a blackleg, you can do it pretty easily with party table kick if you load them all up and then jump down and do party table kick. It can take you anywhere from 1 to 2 hours, so be careful of that. Make sure you got enough time. But if you don't and you have to go do something, you can leave and rejoin it and the quest will still be there. However, there is no spawn on the island, so you need to take your spawn somewhere close. I would advise maybe desert. That's a pretty close island. There is a pose to it though, so you can buy the eternal pose and you can easily just make your way back there once you've already gone there once. Now, hockey can be trained. I believe on the wiki it says it takes 48 hours of constant use to use. And once you do use it, if you take out a katana, your graphics need to be on 4+. Once you take out the katana, there will be this purple swirly effect, like Zoro has on his in the anime, and that would be how you maxed it. If you go to the wiki, it will also tell you the maximum time. So if you start the hockey and you set a timer, I think it's 1 minute and maybe 45 seconds, something like that, for version 1. And then there's also version 2, which when you get to second C at level 325, you then need to get the Book of Spirits by fighting a Kraken, which is a 50% drop, 45% drop, something like that. So it's really easy to get if you can kill Krakens. You get the Book of Spirits, and then you go to this shrine place, get a spirit orb, then you go all the way to this island, which is, I think, south of the shrine. Not too sure, don't quote me on that. I think I will make a full tutorial on this, on how to get Hockey V2. Then you go there, you speak to a guy, and then you meditate. This is a lot easier than Observation V2. He basically just gives you hockey V2 if you complete it. Once you get to 20 completed properly, it doesn't cost you any money. However, if you do fail, you will need to go back and you'll get another spirit orb, but it doesn't use up your book or anything, so you can just keep repeating the process until you are done. Now, hockey also involves Ken hockey or observation hockey. Basically, observation V2 I think is level 165 requirement to get. I'm not sure how much it costs you, but once you get a quest, there is a guy on Skype here inside of a hut on the upper yards near in Nell, I'm pretty certain, in a hut somewhere near there, I think. Don't quote me on it, the wiki probably will have the information you need. But you'll talk to him, you give him some money, and then he will give you a quest to do, I think it's 200 perfect blocks. Which my tip for this would be to, if you have a devil fruit that walks on water, to go and to Barate and grab the essential of the shotgun guy, and whenever he lifts his shotgun up, you know he's about to shoot, so you can just time it to perfect block for when he shoots. That is pretty easy. However, if you don't have a devil fruit or a fruit that walks on water, so like if you don't have a devil fruit whatsoever, if you do have a devil fruit but it just doesn't walk on water, then go to Fishman Island and get a bubble for this. It might help. It probably will help, because then you'll be able to go underwater. But if you don't have a devil fruit whatsoever, just go underwater anywhere, wait for a shark to come, and then just spam F. Literally just spam F, and you'll get the 200 PBs in 5 to 10 minutes. It is really easy. So yeah, that's my tip on observation. There is also observation V2. I'm not too sure on the level requirement. It might be 425 because that's when it came out. However, I'm not too sure. It costs, I think, is it 25,000 or 50,000 per go? And it's basically like playing Osu. It is ridiculously hard, in my opinion. I believe you can make it easy if you have like a bunch of tabs open to lower your frame rate, because that will obviously make it slower. So that could be a tip to doing it. I had to get someone else to do it for me. He's pretty good at this stuff apparently, so I had to get him to do it for me I get it, so I could get it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it right now. I would still be stuck because it is really hard for me, and it is a really hard challenge. So good luck trying to do that. But there might be a level requirement, not too sure. but it doesn't, like, you don't need a boss drop or anything, you just need money, basically. Which, endgame is really easy to get, which you will be endgame by the time you get there. But that's all the 10 best tips and tricks for Grand Peace Online beginners. I didn't mention this, but this video was actually recommended by ChatGPT, the AI software. So, who knows? The ideas I came up with myself, so I kind of tried to get some good ones together, maybe some ones that were going off on a little bit of a tangent. They are the 10 best tips and tricks for Grand Peace Online beginners, I would say. If you enjoyed, please sure to like and subscribe. Join the Discord, it is down below in the description if you want to be in a chance of winning some fruits. I might do another giveaway later today, maybe not till the weekend when it's 2 times low again. I can farm great Krakens a lot more. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.